Cormac Buchanan on pole position, turned that into a race 1 victory yesterday. Caleb Gilmore was conscious of not going too hard early, managed to come in a bit too slow, misses line and clipped the curb. He's had a DNF already, so desperate for some redemption here. This is going to be 10 laps. Brilliant. We've got the MTF Finance Timaru Blue Crew Yamaha of Harry Parker there in 3rd place as well. All on here, and a great field of entries too. Supersport 300, this is the future of New Zealand motor racing. As we get the lights on, and let's have a look at this one here. We've got a brilliant start from Cormac Buchanan. This is going to be interesting where these guys all shape up when they head into turn number 1. We've got 21 300 Supersport entries here at round number 1 of our New Zealand Superbike Championship. So brilliant to see that Cormac Buchanan is going to lead them around turn number 1. We've got Caleb Gilmore there in 2nd place. Harry Parker's the man in 3rd. Dave Fellows, a good drive from Dave on the front row. He's up in 4th place as well as they fly down the Liquimolly straight into Icon Corner. They're all through there nicely. We've got the Biggles racing bike, Jason Hearn, 3NZ from last year, but he's buried in the pack, so a lot of work to do for Jace. He wants to get in the mix. We've got a lot of argy-bargy into the Euromark left-hander, and Harry Parker goes up into 2nd place. Oh, we've got one down as well, so a bit of drama there out of the Euromark left-hander, so they look to be up. Everyone looks to be up and okay. We've got a bike just off the track, so we'll just have a look at that one there. Yeah, just a couple of them come together on exit. One with nowhere to go, just had to lay the bike down and then had to take evasive action. Some good work there from our traffic coming through. That could have been a lot worse than that, so some pretty good stuff. The marshals are on scene with the medical vehicle on hand, the MTF Finance emergency vehicle straight on hand, and hopefully we can get that incident cleared and carry on racing, because it's heating up at the front. Harry Parker putting on some pressure now. We've got Cormac Buchanan, Harry Parker, Caleb Gilmore. Look at this 3-way fight. These guys are all young men in the sport and doing fabulous things. We've got Dave Fellows, Regan Bray's up there as well, so good start from him. And Luca Durning, you can see him on the bright blue machine, the dentist supported Barracks Sports Bar race team entry. He's in about 6th place at the moment, so here we go. Down the front straight we scream. 300 Supersport, thanks to Norjo Motorcycles, your home of Kawasaki in the Canterbury area. We've got Cormac Buchanan ahead of Caleb Gilmore, Harry Parker, Dave Fellows. We go to Regan Bray, Luca Durning, then you go to Jason Hearn back in 7th place, so where do you went to? We've got Kay Bentley in there with Andy McLaughlin and Justin Maunder rounding out our top 10. So here we go. Fastest man on track on the outlet was a 1:48.063 from Harry Parker. So these guys laying it on the line at the moment as we see them down the back straight. And Harry doing a wonderful job. So breaking hard into the Euromark left-hander. It is the 24, the Timaru Yamaha man. Harry Parker leads Cormac Buchanan. These guys are in the Blue Crew team together, so it's really cool to see these guys going for it. Caleb Gilmore, he's desperate to stay in touch with these three. If these two run off in the distance, it could spell a disaster for Caleb Gilmore's chances of winning this race.
Well, Brad, that's bad news. People like James Hugenboozem are some of those that are missing now as they've come through on that lap, so presumably one of those riders are down, others including Logan Rowell and Blaze Heaven. No, some of our creme de la creme riders that have been in the top half of the field. So, wow, look at what's going on over there. A bit of drama, as you say, coming together. It's been a lucky break for the others. It was that mid-pack where the confusion lay, and people like Kane Bentley and Jason Hearn. Jason Hearn back in 8th place, that's unheard of. He's got some real work to do. People like Andy McLaughlin around him. Andy, we know, has been a top mid-sized bike rider here in Canterbury as well. He's struggling to make that top 10. So, I tell you what, Brad, this is all on. There's some fighting these guys have got to do to get back to form. And some of our good riders already out of the moto.
Yeah, this is really good, yeah. So a lot of depth in this field as well. You've got guys like Andy Mack. He's had race wins in 300 Supersport races. He's held the lap record in 300 Supersport around Ruapuna a few years back. So, yeah, he's in 9th place at the moment. And awesome to have. We've got James Hugenboozem, former New Zealand Supersport 600 GP champion. And he's out of this one. So great depth of field. And we'll keep you updated on this one. Harry Parker continues to lead. He's just hit the fastest lap of the race at 1:42.7. But right in behind him, the young man from Invercargill, Cormac Buchanan. So they're going to go and at these two. They are teammates, but that is the first person you want to beat on the racetrack is your teammate. They've been swapping the lead a couple of times already in this one here, and you've got to be careful. If you let Cormac Buchanan get out in front, he will run away with this one. So Harry Parker desperate to try and retake the lead. It's all on here as the Blue Crew boys go through the Fulton Hogan S's. Caleb Gilmore there. A good job from him. Third place is at the moment. Dave Fellows is the one in fourth place with Regan Bray, Luca Dern and Kane Bentley, Jason Hearn, Andy Mack and Dylan Burnett running out our top 10. But this one here, this is going to be 8 laps of absolute fury. We've got new lap record for Harry Parker that time around, so a 1:42.7, a new lap record. Absolutely brilliant. So that was set by Nathaniel Diprose last year here, a 1:43.7, so that's brilliant. We've taken 4/100ths of a second off the lap record. So Harry Parker, Cormac Buchanan, these guys are going at it.
Well, they're both Yamaha development riders, so they're effectively teammates under the umbrella with Rogan Chandler on the bigger 600cc bike. Young guns making it happen in our sport. So great to see that we've got a battle out here. And normally, of course, it's Cormac that has the upper hand, but Harry's saying he's feeling better and he's running with him. And when we say running with him, normally behind him, but he's been out in front of him this time and setting that records. That's really been pushed along. So exceptional to see for the MTF Finance Man. Shout out as well to our race sponsor and Norjo Motorcycles, genuine authorised dealer with genuine Kawasaki parts. Sales at Norjo.co.nz. Here in Christchurch, remembering the code Ninja 400 when you purchase online. Check it out, your favourite Kawasaki bike shop. It is Norjo's, proud to be sponsoring NZSBK with Underground Brown. Your boring experts covering the infrastructure industry here in Canterbury.
All right, there was only 0.4 of a second in it when they crossed the line. There's less than that on track at the moment. Harry Parker breaking hard into Euromark. He's not going to try and move there, but with 6.5, 7 laps to go on this one, it's a game of cat and mouse at the moment for these two guys out in front. They've certainly broken free of the challenge from Caleb Gilmore. So Caleb didn't get much track time on the Friday and then had the crash in lap 1 yesterday. So just still trying to find his feet out there at the moment. He's in third place. Dave Fellows and Regan Bray, 4th and 5th. As we watch this one with open eyes, it's going to be brilliant. Cormac Buchanan, the young teenage sensation. We talk about him a lot, and he really is the real deal. And he is coming alive here at the moment, so keep an eye on this one. It was almost matched perfectly for pace with Harry that last lap around, so they're on lap record pace. We're going lap record hunting, and the more these guys push each other along, the quicker we'll get. But at the moment, the new lap record for 300 Supersport Racing, a 1:42.723 for Harry Parker. We're going to keep an eye on this one because I reckon this one will go again. Cormac Buchanan, he's got the clear track. He's had a clean lap to try and see what he can do. Harry in there behind him as well. We've got racing all over this one here. There's 21 Supersport 300 riders. There's a few out of this one already. So Logan, Blaze and James Hoogie are the ones that were caught up in that Euromark left-hander tangle on lap number 2. So they're out of this one, but we go racing. No improvement to the lap record. So these guys just settling into a bit of a pace. These guys have had the same set of tyres on for the entire weekend. It's much like the Pro Twin class. You've got to have that set of tyres, you've got to qualify on it and do 3 big races. So no point burning your tyres out. You've still got a big Grand Prix to have later on in the afternoon. At the moment, Harry Parker, Cormac Buchanan, they've swapped the lead at least 4 or 5 times in this race, and it's on again into the Euromark left-hander, but still not even halfway through this one. Anyone's at the moment.
Wow, well, I'll tell you what, Harry did Cormac for so long. It's a real credit to him, and to get a lap record at the same time. Can we see Cormac get it back? He's the man that's been cracking lap records. He certainly did plenty of them last year in that U150 class. So he's been lap record holding at, I think, every circuit that he covered last year. So great work from him. Here he is. He's just had a little bit of that undone by his teammate there, and Harry Parker, keeping him very honest. Great when there's 2 teammates like that, because you know they've got respect for each other. There won't be anything out there in the way of hard, aggressive riding, because they'll be just be making sure that they can still keep each other on a bike to prove they are a team. To Caleb Gilmore, well done to Caleb. It was underdone here yesterday and going off at Fulton Hogan, so nice to see that he's been able to keep some consistency and keep back there in third place. So good work to keep the older, more experienced Dave Fellows back in the lineup, and a shout out for Dylan Telford and Joe Telford for all the help going to Dave Fellows out there. Great work for Dave, one of our ambassadors of the sport, and all-round nice guy, and great to see that he's still up there, although having to work for it, back in 4th spot at the moment.
Yeah, shout out to Dave Fellows. He's got a bit of an injury at the moment, so just there's a bit of a sore wrist, having trouble getting the throttle on. So he's on damage control for this weekend, so he's doing a really good job. Sitting there in 5th place. Regan Bray just got up into 4th. And when they crossed the line, it was 1/1000th of a second in it. They were nearly side by side, still with that 1:42.7. So still the fastest lap of the race is with Harry Parker. There's absolutely nothing in it. It's Cormac leading Harry out of the Icon corner. They've had pretty much a lead swap every time they've gone down the front straight. So this is all on here. as we get through half of this race. We've still got 5 laps to go, and then coming up later on, these guys get a 10-lapper for their New Zealand Grand Prix title. It's exciting to be on the 10th of January, 10 days into the new year, and already giving out New Zealand titles. The Grand Prix are up for grabs after the lunch break, which is at the end of this 10-lap race here. We've got 5 laps to go, and you cannot pick a winner. They were 1/1000th of a second when they crossed the line, so that would be a quarter of the thickness of the front tyre, I'd suggest, at that speed they're going down here. So brilliant stuff. The 2 Blue Crew Yamaha boys, there's a bit of lap traffic they're going to come across, so that could throw a cat amongst the pigeons. But flying at the moment, it's Cormac leading Harry, and they are through the Southern Salvage S's at the moment. Then we go back to Caleb Gilmore, who's sitting there in a lonely old ride for 3rd place. So he's got that one well sewn up at the moment. And then Regan Bray, Dave Fellows, good battle for 4th and 5th. So keeping an eye on this one here. They get through the lap traffic not too badly there, through the Aon Dipper and up towards the sweeper here. The iconic turn 10 sweeper at Mike Pero Motorsport Park here in Murupuna, and the sun is beating down now, so quite a warm day here in the Garden City, and some fantastic racing. So there it is with Cormac Buchanan leading ahead of Harry Parker. Now that gap's out to 0.6, so this is where Cormac can really grab this by the bit and see what he can do. There's 4 laps to go, 0.6 of a second in that lead. There's another 6 seconds back to 3rd place, which is Caleb Gilmore. Good job from Caleb there. He is now living down in the Canterbury area, and has committed to go over at the end of February to go to Australia and compete in their Australian Superbike Championship. So we wish him all the best in his endeavours. But at the moment, the man out there in 3rd place on the 78 machine, that is Caleb Gilmore. He is part of the Gilmore Homes and Builders Metro Motorsport team with Mega Motorcycle Centre and Pirelli New Zealand, giving him a lot of help. But this young man doing such a good job. He did a really good job about 12 months ago racing at Phillip Island in the Australian Superbike Championship on the 300 class, and a promising young talent. But this battle for the lead has been less than a second the entire race. We've still got 3.5 laps to go. Cormac Buchanan leads Harry Parker into Southern Salvage, a cool section for these 300 Supersport guys. They can almost just chop down a gear and hold it on through there into the Aon Dipper, iconic part of New Zealand motorcycling. We don't use it for cars here at Pero Motorsport Park. We only use it for the bikes, and definitely a good point of difference. It's very narrow and easy to get wrong. So these guys doing a fabulous job out there at the moment. So they're going to out of the turn 10 sweeper. It's the young man at 14 years of age from Invercargill on the number 28 machine, flying at the moment. You've got Harry Parker. He's a 2-time defending Alan Ramage Memorial Trophy winner, which we'll have up for grabs next week at Timaru, and some of the coolest racing you'll ever see. You've got to get yourself to round number 2 of the New Zealand Superbike Championships. We're at Levels International Raceway, and that certainly won't be missed. So we've got 3 laps to go. Still that new lap record with Harry Parker. They haven't been able to match that for pace, so 1:42.723, just 5/100ths of a second better than the time of the Nathaniel Dick race here 12 months ago in the Grand Prix, and this one here, certainly, as you can see them down into the Euromark left-hander, we've got nothing in it with 2.5 laps to go.
And Brad, we just let everybody know that after this race is approximately a 30-minute lunch break. It's an opportunity to feed more to the marshals who've been out there since around 8 o'clock this morning. More importantly, we're going to do our junior riding introduction. We'll be talking to some of the people behind the scenes in Motorcycling Canterbury about this junior sport. You'll be able to see some of the riders, and particularly some of the bikes, like the brand called KO. I hadn't heard of it until this time last year, and now it's a bike that we've actually got an official class in, and we're importing currently some bikes into the country, and the club's going to help in conjunction with 2 great guys, Dennis Charlotte and Kevin Goddard from Race Supplies, to get these on the racetrack for our young kids to start. So look for this coming up. Your opportunity to head pit side as well at the moment, and catch up with some of the great food that's available out there, because we want all of those outlets supported here today, folks. There's a fantastic menu that we've got on stall for you today, and keen just to see those. I did have a list of them before, but not quite sure where that list is now. More importantly, though, we will take an opportunity to promote them, because after all, we've got to feed the faces. Here we are. It's Pit Woodfire Pizzas, Fritz Wieners, those beautiful sausages, and also real fruit ice cream, plus the menus of the fantastic hot dog and chips. And a reminder, also a menu available down at the Chris Amon Club Rooms, which is the car club area right down the bottom of the pits by the entrance gate. So lunch break coming up after this. Back to you, Brad.
Yeah, righto, we're into this one well and truly. Corn Buchanan's just managed to get a few bike lengths through on Harry Parker. There's not much in it. They go through the Icon sweeping left-hander and on the way down to the hairpin, but a good drive out of there for Harry Parker. So have a look at this one here as they break hard. I think Harry Parker might have a good run on them. And a change of ball position. So we've got a new race leader, Harry Parker, with a lap and a half to go. That's a really big move. We've got brilliant stuff from Caleb Gilmore, but he is starting to get reeled in by Regan Bray and Dave Fellow. So there's less than a second in that gap now. So the podium battle started to heat up. This is exciting. We've got Jason Hearn. He's now back into about 6th or 7th place there on the bright yellow BS6 Expanded Biggles Racing machine. And go back to Luca Durning in behind him as well. So we're going to keep an eye on this one here. We've got a lap and a half to go through Southern Salvage with the white flag in the marshal's hand, ready and waiting. Very exciting. Corn Buchanan gets a good drive through there, but Harry, he's done quite a few laps around here. He's an experienced campaigner now on the 300 Supersport. This is his 3rd campaign on that machine, and part of the Blue Crew Yamaha team, these two both under the Yamaha New Zealand banner, and great to have these two going at it. This is going to be good. So the white flag is ready and waiting. These guys have been separated by no more than a second the entire race, and we're down to the nitty-gritty here. 1 lap to go in this 10-lap race. We've got a 10-lap Grand Prix coming up for these guys later on as well. And have a look at this. Corn Buchanan's going to pull out. They're going to go side by side as they cross the line. And 7/100ths of a second, and we've got a new fastest lap. So a 1:42.565. That betters his lap record, Harry Parker. Even though he got passed on the line by Corn Buchanan, the fastest lap of the race, Harry Parker on 5, but it is now with Corn Buchanan. So white flag out, 1 lap to go. This is all on here at the moment, and in through the awesome Icon left-hander. Harry's going to go right up next to him. So Cormac goes over to the left, defensive line. Harry will know this, and he's going to have to try and get him on the undercut. Good job from Cormac Buchanan. A great defensive line, just parked it on the inside of the corner and managed to get it stopped. So already at 14 years of age, showing how good a racer he is. And they fly through the Fulton Hogan S's. This is going to be all on. I can't wait to see this one here. Half a lap to go now. And where is Harry Parker going to make the move? We've seen how good Corn Buchanan is through the Southern Salvage section. I think it's going to have to be a move pretty soon. Out of the Christchurch Casino Carousel they go. The crowd's on their feet. This is going to be a stadium finish. Corn Buchanan ahead of Harry Parker here in race 2 for the 300 Supersport on this weekend. Round 1 of NZSBK, the New Zealand Superbike Championships coming alive. Harry Parker pulls up right on the back wheel of Cormac Buchanan into the Aeon Dipper, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. Cormac Buchanan has done a brilliant job defensively on this last lap. We're going to see what can happen around the 10th corner here, the sweeper here at Mike Perry Motorsport Park. It's hard racing from these two, but brilliant stuff. There's no one in front of them, so it's all going to come down to who gets the better drive out of here. It's going to be a pretty good drive. There's nothing in it at the moment, so they scream to the left. Harry follows him, but I think Corn Buchanan's done enough. Corn Buchanan's going to win ahead of Harry Parker. What a final lap that was, and with it, a 1:42.2. Corn Buchanan will set a new lap record, so there we go. 1:42.2. Corn Buchanan on the last lap, he had to defend and he had to hang on to the win, so brilliant stuff and a new lap record to boot. We go back to Caleb Gilmore, who only ended up on the podium by 1/10 of a second. Dave Fellows chased him hard, so shout out to Dave, riding with a bit of a wrist injury out there at the moment. So Regan Bray gets 5th place, and then we go back to 6th place for Jason Hearn on the Biggles Racing. 3, we go Luca Durning, he's going to get 7th place, so some frantic finishes here. There's not much between a few of these guys crossing the line. We've got Kane Bentley going to get 8th ahead of Justin Maunda and Dylan Byrne. That's our top 10. Wall frantic pace, 1:42.283, so a 1:42.283. Corn Buchanan, who had already set a lap record in Supersport 150 racing, has now chucked his name on the 300 Supersport lap record in the 1:42.2s. That is absolutely flying. And on a frantic last lap where he had to defend lines and block lines away from Harry Parker, those guys have put on a show here for sure. And our Norjo Motorcycles 300 Supersport, your home of Kawasaki, in the Canterbury area, down at Main South Road in Christchurch. Look them up at sales at norjo.co.nz, and that was absolutely scintillating, to say the least. Cormac Buchanan wins ahead of Harry Parker and Caleb Gilmore, and Neil's going to have a pretty awesome podium down there. Harry Parker did everything he could. He threw everything at it, and he's going to have to settle for the second time this weekend. So all on That is going to be certainly one of the Grand Prix to look out for later on in the program. We've got a half-an-hour lunch break coming up, and then we kick straight off with the big guns. The Superbike New Zealand Grand Prix title up for grabs. Straight after the lunch break, we go to the Pro Twins next. Then we go to Supersport 600. After that, then these guys come out. The Supersport 300, can't wait for that Grand Prix title up for grabs. That's going to be massive. And then we go to the Supersport 150 and the sidecars with the 250 production rounding us out. So that is the second round of racing, all done and dusted. We're going to have a half-an-hour lunch break after the podium celebrations, which we'll now cross down to Neil, who he'll have an ecstatic Yamaha Blue Crew team there with a 1-2. Cormac Buchanan, the young sensation, takes the win ahead of his teammate Harry Parker, and then go back to Caleb Gilmore there in third.
Well, just as we get these riders ready, just again with President Noel May, and we've just been looking at the little KO bike here, Noel. We've got some real future with the road racing sport when we can get that class involved in everyday kind of events and other clubs around the country.
Mate, what NCI and especially Dennis and the crew are doing with this bike, I think you've got 15 coming into the country. This is going to be the future where our motorsport goes forward. I just tip my hat to Dennis, and we're about to see this bike out here. It's a cool looking bike, and that's just going to put a grin on any kid's face, and adults.
And adults, yeah. You're ordering, Noel, I can see that as well. Here. So thank you, Noel. Great to have your comments, and we'll talk to Noel and others again during the lunch break as we build up with our guys. Look at the respect here. This is sensational, and our Yamaha, it's looking good. Of course, this man unfortunately didn't make it. Race was all over in Fulton Hogan, over in the dirt, but Caleb Gilmore, you weren't going to do that again.
No, I made a silly mistake yesterday. I was being too cautious and I clipped the curb on the inside, so today I pushed it as hard as I could. Bike felt pretty good. I'd just like to thank everyone who's come out and helped me out. Yesterday was tough, and everyone who got around and fixed the bike and looked after me was really appreciated for that. Thank you so much. And also I'd like to thank all the team and everyone who's helped out to make it possible.
All right, indeed. What do you think of this track, Ruapuna?
Yeah, it's super difficult. It was hot out there, and the wind changed like halfway through, so everything, all the corners become different, and every time you had to judge it as it was. And no, I really enjoyed that race. These guys blew me away. They did an awesome ride, so well done to these guys as well. And thank you, Yamaha, and everyone who's helped me out this year.
Beautiful speeches by these young guys. You want them as our statesmen in New Zealand in years to come, don't we? Hey, courtesy of Yamaha, the Blue Crew, and Holland's Collision Centre. Nice to have the whole team from Yamaha on board with us. Harry Parker, is that your best race, mate? You broke the lap record twice. That young fella stole it from you late in the race, but what an awesome battle. That was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that battle. I knew it was 10 laps, and I was a bit worried about it, but I actually held in really good, so I can't wait for the 12 lap, and I need to get the lap record off him again. Because I can't go home when he's got it, so we should put a head down and we'll get there.
Right, as Brad alluded to during the commentary, the Alan Ramage Memorial winner for the 300s. That'll be a hot race at the end of racing next weekend at Timaru. You add that to the whole occasion, plus you'll be back on your home track next week. You're going to smoke him there at Levels?
What kind of question is that? Of course I'm going to smoke him. He's my teammate, but I'd like him to win, but yeah, I'm going to take it again, hopefully. I want to make it 3 years in a row. Be the first person to do it and take it back home, put it back in the trophy cabinet.
Be great. And see, what was the secret in that race? How did you think you went better? That you were really not just the fact that you were a challenge, you were there, you were equal to him.
Yeah, I wasn't pushing or going too hard, making stupid choices. I just sat behind Cormac the whole time and just put my head down and waited for the last couple of laps, but he put me. But that's all right, it's racing. It
is racing. Beautiful, Harry Parker, and a lovely speech. Thank you, Harry. Well done. And here's the support out there as well to Cormac. Man, oh man, you had to work. If you thought 150s was easy, that would be your toughest race you've so far done on a 300, Cormac?
Oh, that's by far the toughest race I've ever done in my life. Every single time I look behind me, he's right there, and he got up the inside of me at the hip, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be close. But yeah, that was a really good race. The 10 laps, as Harry said, I was also a little bit worried about it. But, I'm definitely a bit tired, but I held through and got the win, so can't complain. Just want to say happy birthday to Grand. Thank you to the whole team at Yamaha, and without you guys I wouldn't be where I am today, so big ups to you guys.
Hey, that Cormac Mac attack is something special. You're creating a brand there as well. You've got the Burt Munro Challenge behind you. Beautiful people, a beautiful event. We look forward to being in Invercargill next month for that. But how awesome is it to have people like that? People like Rex Mincer have, opened their checkbook and said, hey, we want to see you flourish. And it's just so neat to be having great support from great people.
Yeah, like if I could give every single one of them a hug, I would. But yeah, all of them, they've all helped out in their every special way. So without them, I'll probably just still be doing club racing. So to be here on the national stage winning is definitely a dream come true, and bring on Europe later this year.
Bring on Europe later this year. We certainly do promote that. Look at the age of these guys, folks. Caleb here with Harry and Cormac. The future of our sport is right here with these young guns. You've seen them as teenagers overseas. This man's heading to Red Bull Rookies this year. How good's that going to be for a Kiwi rider as well? We're excited. Hope you are as well. The future of our sport with our Supersport 300 with Norjo Motorcycles and our sponsors with Underground Brown, bringing it to you here with Aon, along with Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. But more importantly, the 2021 NZSBK. We're racing motorcycles in New Zealand. Let's have a great day. Bring it on.